Do I think that I'm a good father? I do think I'm a good father. I think that I try my best to do what I can do at my capacity of who I am and what I've become and the man that I've become. Um, but overall, I think that I'm a good father. I try my best to do the best that I feel, or the best that um, maybe wasn't given to me, or whatever it is. I just feel like I try my best to be the father that my three kids need. Um, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Um, what was my father like? I I am a preacher's kid. So my father hasn't been a preacher wasn't a preacher all of my life. But the majority of my life that I can remember, he's been a preacher. My father, like I said earlier, you can only do to the capacity of who you are and what the upbringing that you had. So I think that my father felt he did the best of what he not felt. I feel like he did the best of what I guess his level of what he was taught or what was given to him. He gave to me. Wasn't always acceptable. No. But overall, I guess it was his best. He, to me, and I'm speaking as the child, now being a parent, I understand some things, but not all things, but I understand some things. As a child, I felt like the church was more important than me. Felt like the church was made to seem like it should be as important to me as it was to him, but because the church was more important, well, to me, it seemed more important to him, it made me not feel like church was important. So, it didn't keep me from there because I'm obviously still there, but it kept me from wanting to be there because I just felt like, oh, you love them more than me. So that was always hard. The affection and things like that wasn't really there as much. So now with my children, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to embrace. It's hard sometimes to show that affection. I do it, but it unfortunately I have to consciously do it. It's not an effortless situation or effortless action. It's something that I have to try. Not, I don't want to say, it sounds so bad, but not even. Yeah, I have to try. It takes me to know. Okay, you have to do that. Come on, you have to do that. I coach myself. It sounds crazy, but I do. But that was because of the lack of that I got. So I had to learn how I don't want to do that to my kids. I don't want to repeat the cycle of making anything in this world more important than my children, because I don't want them to feel what I felt. Do I have traits of my father? I do, and I find that in my parenting that the traits that I've picked up are not necessarily the best traits in the whole world. I didn't always feel like he was there. So I don't know if that absent feeling that I have, I can sometimes do to my kids, not on purpose, but it's just I guess it's because of what I felt. I never want to do that to my kids. Ever want to do that to my kids. But I tend to hear my oldest say, "Oh, Daddy, you work so much," or "Daddy, you always out," or "Daddy, you don't play with me," or "Daddy." And when I hear that, it just like takes me like to a whole nother place that I can't even deal. I can't deal, because it makes me think like, oh, am I doing that to my children? So those traits, I do think that it's possible. It's possible. It's possible that I'm could be absent to my kids. And not necessarily absent in the sense of being there, because the truth of the matter is I work a 9 to 5. Most fathers work 9 to 5. But when I come home, of course, we're all tired. Any father knows. We're all tired. You got to come home. They want your attention because they don't care that you worked all day. They don't care what happened in your day. All they know is that Daddy's home. I want to talk to him. I want to play with him. That's it. And I feel like sometimes I could be taken on the trait of making something else more important than them. So those traits I do think I have adapted, unfortunately. Yeah, I do. How does me and my father's relationship affect my being a father? I think me and my father's relationship is always, it could always be up in the air. Let me put it that way. It could always be up in the air. I have almost gotten to a point where my expectations are not there. So because my expectations are not there, I think we have a better relationship. And because my expectations are not there, it kind of warrants us to have a better relationship, because I don't expect too much. There are times that I felt like he should have responded in a certain way. So, and he didn't. And it was disappointing. But I had to come to the realization that I can't allow this to be held in my heart forever. So at some point, when the person doesn't change, this is just my own feeling and my own way of thinking that people could call crazy sometimes. If after a certain amount of time, I feel like that the person's not going to change, especially when it comes to my parents. I have a little bit more leeway when it comes to people, but my parents is a different story. So after a while, I just felt like I'm going to take this to heart every single time. So instead of taking it to heart every single time, I just threw out the expectations. Threw them out. Because it allowed me to have a freer life. And I'm older too. So now I'm older. I'm not a kid. I'm not a teenager. I have my own children. I can't let that burden me, because the truth of the matter is it will fall over and it will pour over into my children and how I treat my children and how I feel about my children. And who wants to do that? Because the truth of the matter is, because I didn't get it, one or two things can happen. I can either go to the same route and don't give it at all and do the same things that I was hurt by, or I can go the other extreme and I can give them everything and be over obsessive and spoil them and make them. No, you don't, because I don't want to do that. I want my kids to have a stable father, to have a stable household, to have a stable way of growing up, and that's not going to happen if I go to either extreme or I let those things weigh down on my heart. So I had to throw the expectations. That's the wrong way. Good or bad, it's what it is. That's the wrong way. But to be 100% honest, I've learned with being a father now for almost 5 years. I've learned that some things that kids can take a certain way, you don't mean, right? So, and by any means not by any means, am I trying to make excuses for what was done, but I now understand why things were done, but it makes me more confused about why that route was taken. You get what I'm saying? Like, why would you take that route? So, I really just make sure, my goal is to make sure that, yeah, I'm not going to do everything that my kids want me to do. I'm not going to be the person that maybe sometimes that my kid wants me to be. But I want to be in their mind. Yeah, I make mistakes. That's normal. That's life. Yeah, I don't do everything you want. Normal. Life is going to happen. But I definitely want to be known as a great father too. That's what I want to be known as. A great father. And I cannot allow nothing to hinder that. Because I have a responsibility. And that responsibility cannot be shaken. That responsibility cannot be moved. That responsibility cannot be faulted because of things that I went through. I have to deal with that. And I've dealt with some, and I'm still dealing with some, because guess what? We're all human. But I don't want my kids to experience anything where they say, my father wasn't there, or my father treated me bad, or I didn't feel like my father cared about me. It would hurt the freak out of me if they ever said it. So because of that, I can be better. I can be better. Not that I'm a horrible father, but I can be better. Two, as fathers, sometimes our love to our children can sometimes, in our mind, be, you got a roof over your head, clothes on your back, food on the table. That's love. But the truth of the matter is, they need more than that. They need more than that. And it ain't specific, or your son's need, or your daughter's need. No. They need more than that. And I want to make sure, even though I wasn't taught by example or by verbal how to be that, I'm going to take it upon myself to learn how to be that. To learn. And that's where I think I am as far as where my father goes, or any father that I hear that says, I did my best. You did your best to your capacity. But I do feel like there's so much information out there. Any parent can do better than what they did. Me as a parent, I'm saying any parent can do better than what they did. But we're human. And it's what it is. We're human. And in our humanity, something has been placed in us to go out for wisdom. Go find how to do better. I Google stuff all the time. All the time. I depend largely on Google. So I will Google crazy stuff like how to be a father. These are things that I Googled when I first started being a father because it wasn't rewarded to me. So I will Google how to be a father. I will Google what to do when your son throws a tantrum. I will Google, should you spank your children? I will Google, should you not spank your children? You know what I mean? Because I needed that information for my life, for my life. I didn't want to be the parent that just felt like I knew what I was doing. So I found out. I learned. Got wisdom. How can I be better as a father? I feel like right now with 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter, I need to learn patience. I feel like as fathers, we cannot have patience. We depend on the wives or the mothers to have patience. I need patience because I know sometimes, but us as fathers, I know our mindset, the way we think, is totally different than mothers. We ain't gonna let stuff get away, let the kids get away with stuff that the mother gonna let kids get away. We ain't doing that. Go sit down. They're gonna say, oh well, no, go sit down. So our way is a little bit different, but patience is very important. And just that genuine love and care, not what we think is genuine, but the literal genuine love and care. Whether it's from you to your son, or me to my son, or me to my daughter. I just really wanna. I just want to be better. I want to be better. Like I said, I want them to say I have a great father. I want them to say my father didn't just pay for me to get them new sneakers or pay for me to get that new dress. I want them to say my father was there. My father was a great father. My father talked to me. My father chastised me, but he hugged me after. Or my father told me to sit down, but he came and sat down next to me. You know, things like that. That right now, to be honest, I know it. I know it. But I don't do it all the time. I don't do it all the time. Hard sometimes. I don't do it all the time. And I need to do more. I need to do more. Because it falls on me. It falls on me. It really does. It's so important. So important. It falls on me. And what I do. How I respond. How I act. Even the acting, how you act in front of your kids. So important. And I learned that now. I mean, I'm only 5 years in. But I'm learning it. I'm learning it. So am I a good father? Yeah. I'm a good father. I'm a good father.